But first, I just wanted to quickly go over my pull list with you guys. So I went over the DC stuff, previously. Hopefully, I can go over the Marvel stuff today. Is this the best way to do it on my notebook? I have no idea. I also kind of want to cover maybe like a surprise kind of thing. So yeah, this is my pull list, guys. If you aren't familiar with the pull list, you go down to the local comic book store. You say, "Hey, I'd like to subscribe to some series." They'll give you a sheet. You write them down, and from then on, they'll order you your stuff on the list, dude. So see them arguing in the chat, dude, about James Gunn. Interesting to see how that's playing out. Christopher Nolan is another one-trick pony. Dang, dude. Some hot takes in the chat, dude. Some hot shakes in the chat. Yeah, okay. So let's go over it. Let's go over the DC real quick, like very quick, okay? So the absolutes, we got Absolute Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, and the Flash. So those five are just a lock. I'm so into the Absolute Universe, having a ton of fun reading those. We got Batman, Superman, and technically we got Wonder Woman. So the big three. I like to stay tuned. What's going on with the big three and their main titles? So we got that. Adventures of Superman, I've been enjoying because it's got Philip Kennedy Johnson continuing his story. Green Arrow is about to end. Sad. Nightwing's been excellent. Batgirl's been excellent. Birds of Prey is about to end. So yeah, so Green Arrow and Birds of Prey about to end, but I'm continuing with the Nightwing and the Birds of Prey, and Batgirl. Nightwing and Batgirl is so sick. DCKO Night Fight. So the question for you guys in the chat: how are we feeling about all the DCKO tie-ins? I'm doing the main title, and I was planning on doing DCKO Night Fight. Not sure if I'm going to be doing all of the tie-ins. Bunch of one-shots coming, man. I think I'm going to wait for DC Universe Infinite to catch most of those. But yeah, definitely the main title in DCKO Night Fight. Arcadia. So that's going to be a crossover with The Question, Batman, and Green Arrow. It's a DC Black Label series. Like I was saying earlier, I really like DC Black Label, so I plan on picking that up. And then we got some of the DC Vertigo titles when they come back. Bleeding Hearts, End of Life, and Peril of the Brutal Dark. So those three, plus Nice House by the Sea, which obviously I was picking up previous, but that's going to be DC Vertigo now. So those four are some nice DC Vertigo coming out. And then last but not least, we have the Arc M special. Some of the Absolute Universe getting a little one shot Arc M special. I'll see what's going on with that, but plan on picking that up. Let's move over to the Marvel. Marvel, guys. All right. So, like I was saying, I'm pretty picky with the Marvel. I don't pick up just every single thing Marvel. So, this is what I got. Let me know if I should be adding some stuff to my Marvel pulls. Start off with Fantastic Four. We just went over it. I'm liking Humberto Ramos and Ryan North. I think they're a great pair. Just keep killing it. Fun sci fi stories, focusing on family, right? So, just like good vibes all around. Fantastic Four has been great. Captain America, Chip Zdarsky, Valerio Schiti, they're just killing it. I'm really, really into the Captain America series. That might be my favorite Marvel comic out right now. Is that a hot take? Are we liking Captain America? More comments on Gunn. We also have Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Wolverine, and the Ultimate. So those are the three ongoing Ultimate titles. Gonna finish those out. Obviously, the Ultimate Universe is coming to an end. Crazy to say, but those are the three main ones. I haven't been reading Ultimate Black Panther. I've not been reading Ultimate X-Men. I can catch those on Marvel Unlimited. I probably should as we're coming to a close on the Ultimate Universe, but those are not on my pull list. They haven't been for a while. The Ultimate Universe 2 years in, you got to pick that up because that's just a nice little one shot. What's going on with the Ultimate Universe? I tend to pick those up. And then Ultimate Endgame, the series. So I think that's like the final event of this Ultimate Universe. Closing it out, the Maker versus all of our heroes that we've been meeting so far for the last 2 years or so. So yeah, Ultimate Endgame should be pretty good. Moving over to the DC Comics, guys. The DC pull list, the Image pull list. God, I'm an idiot. Tommy B, he says Cap has been good. I'm excited for what's to come. Dude, I don't know if it's a hot take, but I think it's my favorite Marvel comic out right now. Like I think Captain America is just killing it. Oh, we got some bad news here. Alter Bed Wars said Mr. Terrific Year 1, my heart is heavy. I missed that one, dude. I did not catch it in single issues. I plan on reading it all now that it's out. Try to binge it all in DC Universe Infinite, but I know that people have been loving that one. So yeah. Cody, I hope you're gonna put Nemesis on my pull list. Well, you might have been the guy who commented earlier about Nemesis, right? I don't know Nemesis at all, so I'll have to back up and read some old Nemesis stuff before I add the new one to my pull. That's interesting though. I've heard mixed things about Nemesis, but you're a big proponent of it, so I gotta check it out. Yeah, just backing up to Mr. Terrific Year One, yeah, I know a lot of people were loving that one. Mr. Terrific's having a great year, so hopefully they get some more love. Mr. Terrific, just an excellent character. People are loving him, so hopefully they can get him a mini, get him a solo, something like that. All right, talking about Image Comics, GI Joe, that's a must pull. Okay, GI Joe is my favorite part of the Energon universe. That's an easy pull. Assorted Crisis Events. Now that is my favorite anthology series on stands. I think Dennis Camp is just killing on that one. Some like real thinkers, like they'll really make you feel every single issue. So, yeah, if you're gonna like Twilight Zone or stuff like that, which I'm a big fan of, Assorted Crisis Events is itching that for real. Would you say a Spider-Man Blue is a good read? Because I have been hearing about it. So Spider-Man Blue, that's the Tim Sale and Jeff Loeb story, right? So I actually have not. That's funny. That's funny you bring it up. So I have not read Spider-Man Blue. I've not read. What's the? Hold on. All right. So just because you mentioned it, all right. So this right here. See this Omni, Daredevil yellow, Spider-Man blue, Hulk gray, Captain America white. I've not read any of those stories, but I have the Omni, and one of my like a reading goal or something. I was trying to make a video where I cover one story a week, so the full month will be like kind of focused on Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, but I just haven't got around to it. So I have the Omni, which all these stories included. But yeah, have not read Spider-Man Blue actually. That's pretty crazy. I know a lot of people say good things about it, but I have not read it yet. We got some comments backing it up. Okay, getting back to the Image comic pull list because Rook Exodus is definitely. Did I not write Rook Exodus? I must have. Damn. I don't think I wrote Rook Exodus. Am I an idiot? Definitely really loving it. I did a full reread and got ready for the second volume, and I've been loving the second volume. So Rook Exodus is definitely an ad. Oops. The Terrifics. Hold on. Backing it up. Alter Bed Wars says, I've read Yellow and Blue. They're fantastic. 10 out of 10 books in my opinion. Yeah, I got to do that. I got to do that soon. Maybe like in January. That could be like a cool project. So maybe I can use that. I can use that Omni as one of my January reads. Hot take, the G.I. Joe movies are good. That might not be that hot of a take. I haven't seen them. They've been a while. Isn't The Rock in one of those? And then Tommy B says that Omni is sick. He didn't know that existed. I think it's like pretty out of print. So I was really lucky to find that for, I think it was just cover price. So I was really happy with that. And yeah, just having all the 4 in one collection. And then Entomb MTG, Entomb Magic the Gathering says, gotta pull Rook Exodus for sure. I don't know why I didn't have that on my list. I'm gonna have to let my shop know because I think the email I sent them, it might have been missing Rook Exodus. But anyways, all that being said, getting back to the pull list, right? Transformers. Just another great part of the Energon universe. Loving Transformers so far with the Dan Mora and Joshua Williams. Dan Mora and Robert Kirkman jumping on. I think they've been killing it. Power Fantasy, I was just talking about my favorite Image comic book on stands without a doubt. Loaded, another series from Kieran Gillen. I'm reading Die right now, and I've never read it before, but I wanted the sequel series on my pull list, so I'm gonna be picking up Die Loaded. Hopefully, I can finish Die this month, and then it's excellent so far. I've been loving it, so I'm sure I'm gonna love Die Loaded when I get to it. Exquisite Corpses. You got to be reading the newest James Tynion IV Hotness. You just gotta, you know what I mean? He's one of the hottest writers in the game. He's that for a reason. He's just killing it on series like Exquisite Corpses. I've been having a lot of fun with that one. Everything Dead and Dying. That's a zombie sort of story. We talked about it a little bit. I've been liking Everything Dead and Dying. And that first issue was like mind-blowing stuff. One of the best issue number 1s of the year so far. So yeah, definitely continuing to pick up Everything Dead and Dying. Should be like a short little, mini series. I don't expect it going for, tens and tens of issues. I think it's going to be nice and short. News from the Fallout, that's about to end. It's going to end tomorrow, I think, with the release of issue number 6. I think. Yeah, I think so. So another series from Chris Connon, just killing it. We got Geiger. Okay, so Geiger is an important one because, as you guys notice on my list, I don't have a ton of Ghost Machine titles. I'm a big fan of Ghost Machine, but besides Rook Exodus and Geiger, I'm not really pulling a ton of Ghost Machine stuff. And that's usually because my library has a lot of the Ghost Machine stuff available to read digitally, like day and date. So I've been able to get by reading a lot of the other Ghost Machine titles through my library, but I gotta pick up Geiger and I gotta pick up Rook Exodus. Those are like a must pick up. Skinbreaker has been fun so far. It's written by Robert Kirkman with artwork from David Finch, I believe, and it's got really, really detailed, great artwork. The story The story is not like the craziest thing in the world. We did have a time jump in the last issue, which was pretty interesting. So I'll have to see what happens with the rest of that series. But I think Skin Breaker's pretty good. Universal Monsters. I put that on my poll to tell my shop, just like, hey, anything Universal Monsters, just get it from me in single issues, man. Because I've been picking up the Dracula, you got the Creature of the Black Lagoon, you got the Frankenstein, you got the Mummy, and then of course Invisible Man is coming out right now, and it's just been excellent. Any future Universal Monster stuff, if Invisible Man's the end of the Universal Monsters kind of thing that they've been doing, I think they've been successful in kind of bringing it back for a new audience. We'll have to see if they continuing Universal Monsters. Is it kind of it? I'm not sure, but I added it on my poll anyways. Escape. Escape has been excellent. Here we go. Here we go. Backing it up, we got some questions. Seth the Tech says, what Image comic have been not what you thought it was? That's a good question. I feel like Image comic just in general surprises me a lot. Like Assorted Crisis events, right? You pick it up and you read the solicit. Oh, it's like some timey-wimey, like sci-fi anthology. Okay, cool, I'll pick it up. But then it just like blows your mind. Like I think, what was it, issue number 4 of Assorted Crisis events, the one that dealt with migrant communities from like another dimension and kind of holding up a mirror into what we're seeing, just like turning on the news and just like looking outside, all the craziness. I don't know, dude, like stuff like that. Image comic, they're just like pushing the bounds, kind of pushing the envelope more than other publishers, I feel. So a lot of the experimental stuff, the surprising stuff comes out from Image Comics for sure. Ross Wilson says Universal's Invisible Man is an excellent pickup. Dude, especially after that last issue where we kind of have the true who the Invisible Man is. Yeah, it was a crazy twist, dude. I've been loving it. Paul Dev says, have you seen Scott Snyder talking about bringing Witches back with a volume 2 after working with Jock again on Absolute Batman number 15? That is excellent news. If that happens, dude, because obviously we have the Witches trade. It says volume number 1 on the side. Everybody's always wondering about volume number 2. That'd be sick. That'd be sick, dude. I'd love to see that. I've said it. I did a video for the month of October. I had a Halloween horror recommendation series that I did like every week, and one of them I recommended Witches. I was saying that's my favorite horror series, dude. I think it still is. So yeah, if they bring Witches back, I think it's excellent. We got Chewy Queso says, agree, Ross. It was an unexpected treat, probably referring to Universal Invisible Man, dude. So yeah, everybody's loving Universal Monsters. Going back to the pull list, where was I? Escape. If you're into war comics, there's not like a ton of war comics out there, but if you are looking for one, Escape from Rick Remender is like the best war comic on stands for sure. In terms of Image Comics, it's probably number 2. Honestly, like it probably goes Power Fantasy, and then my next favorite Image comic series is Escape. Like if you guys aren't reading Escape, you're really missing out. It's just excellent anthropomorphic animals, right? Which might be a turnoff for some, but it's hardcore, dude. It's pretty gritty. And it's just World War II story that's kind of like 1917, if you've seen that. It's kind of like Saving Private Ryan sort of vibes, right? So yeah, definitely check out Escape. It's really good. Almost finished up here. Giant Size Criminal. Criminal's coming back for a little one shot around the Christmas time. So I made sure to tell my shop to pick me up that. Rook XS I already covered. Bug Wars, I really enjoyed Bug Wars from earlier in the year. They're coming back with volume number 2 next year. So if you guys are into, I don't know how to describe it. It's like Ant Bully mixed with Game of Thrones, or it's like Game of Thrones mixed with like Bug's Life or something, right? So really crazy stuff. And then they also have a one shot coming out that's focused on the Spider Witches. I think that's pretty cool. One of the cooler kind of groups in the world of Bug Wars. So I'll see what happens with that. And then the last 2, we got Voice Said Kill and Lucky Devils. Those are just series that I've been pulling, and I'm just gonna finish them out in single issues. Nothing super crazy. Lucky Devil, same creative team as 8 Billion Genies, but it's not my favorite series on stands. And then Voice Said Kill, Cy Spurrier. Got some qualms with Cy Spurrier. He's pretty wordy kind of guy. Not my favorite writer in the world, but Voice Said Kill has artwork from Vanessa Del Rey, who I'm a big fan of. So gonna continue in pulling that series and close it out. If you guys see up here, before we get into the other, if you guys see up here, the drops. So I dropped Absolute Green Lantern, Superman Unlimited. I dropped JSA, which is a tough one to drop because that's a Jeff Lemire story that I was a big fan of Jeff Lemire, right? But not the biggest fan of his JSA story. And then I dropped Detective Comics which I wasn't disliking that one. It's just I'm reading so many Batman stuff, dude. So something has to get the drop, you know? And then I think I was dropping the series Shredder from IDW. Dan Watters, which I'm a big fan of Dan Watters, the writer, but I'm just not like the biggest fan of the Shredder series. It's okay, you know? We got some comments. Tommy B coming back and he says, hype for Bug Wars returning. Me too, man. Bug Wars is great. Jason Aaron, one of my favorite writers in the game. He's just killing it. And the world that they created, Bug Wars. Hopefully that goes for like a long time, dude. Like there's no way that can just be 2 volumes, all the work that they put in. I've been really liking Bug Wars. Um so is killing the children a good read? And then we got Chewy Queso replying to Seth. He's saying, Seth, it's a 10 out of 10. It's excellent. Seth, if you haven't read Something's Killing Children, I read the deluxe edition volume number 1. I read that last month for the month of October. I haven't read volume number 2 yet. So I think I'm on issue like 12, right? So I haven't read the rest of the series, but I've been loving it so far. There's a reason why it's one of the best selling, indie series and one of the most popular indie series right now. You can't go wrong with Something Is Killing the Children. It's really good. Not one that I'm reading in singles though. That's a good point though. Ross Wilson, another hot take from Ross. Full of hot takes, dude. He says that the main character is kind of unbearable. I don't know. I don't agree with that. Hands up on that one. I don't know. Okay, so let's finish out the pull list and then we can get to unboxing the Scarecrow McFarlane toys. All right, so Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. I was just talking about that. Patrick Horvath's killing it. Excellent volume number 1. If you guys haven't checked it out, volume number 2 has the potential to be even better. One of the crazier twists in this volume 2, and then kind of the interesting kind of scenario that we find ourselves in. I'm interested to see if Beneath the Trees will end here with volume number 2, or if it's something that Patrick Horvath wants to keep going. High Strangeness is an anthology series that I had on my list for the first 2. I don't know if I'll keep it going after that, but I definitely want to support Zach Thompson, who's the writer for issue number 2 coming out. TMNT. So I'm reading the current Jason Aaron, Juan Ferreira stuff. I'm excited for the new creative team to jump on. A little bit disappointed that Jason Aaron and Juan Ferreira didn't get to do like a 40 plus issue like long a TMNT run. Got kind of short, right, with only 12 issues, but I was loving it all throughout. I'm excited for the new creative team to jump on. I just feel like you just need to pull TMNT. I don't know, like there's something about it. Like you gotta be reading the newest Ninja Turtle stuff. And then last but not least, we got the series called Masterminds from Dark Horse Comics. I like supporting Zach Kaplan, sci-fi writer who I think is killing it all the time. So that's his series, his newest one called Masterminds. Good question from Paul Dev. He says that I wasn't so sure on Absolute Flash, and I thought of dropping it. Has the series gotten better? I'm considering adding it to my pull list, but heard conflicting things. So I would say, right, because if you see here, it's still on my pull list. It has gotten better, but not by much, if that makes sense. So the first arc, we're still kind of even getting there, right? Like we're not even at the point where we should be, honestly, like where the other Absolute titles have gotten to this point already. Absolute Flash is still kind of working its way there. A lot of like I think so far it's had like 3 sort of like side story issues that sort of stop all the momentum. Like Absolute Flash could have 2 really good issues, and then it has like a sort of side like spin-off sort of story focusing on the rogue, right? And it's like that's not bad, right? It's a fun read, but I'm in this story for the Wally West character, you know what I mean? Like this kid struggling, going through some stuff, he's like a runaway. Like I'm in for the Wally West character, but Jeff Lemire's got other plans, right? So when it comes to possibly adding it to your pull list, Paul Dev, I don't know. It's tough, dude. I would say if you were pulling it already and you didn't like it, I would say maybe keep it off the pull list, right? But if it's something that you were reading it and you thought the first couple issues were good, it has gotten better. So if that answers your question, it probably doesn't. That's pretty tough. It's not my favorite DC series. So I get people dropping it. I don't blame them at all for dropping it, man. But that's what we got, guys. That's been the pull list, okay? So the pull list update, this should say November. Dude, we got LD Wheeling in the chat, bro. He says, yo, what's up?